It would seem that the microphone has been fixed. The counter that I've heard to the Kalam argument makes use of the fact of epistemology, and that most of the distinctions we make in nature are merely epistemic. And because they're epistemic, we can't assume that they have any actual ontological basis. That is to say, what we think of a pencil is only a pencil in the eyes of a human, or in the eyes of something that knows. Labels are a constituent of knowledge. That much is true. However, not all knowledge is so arbitrarily placed. And this is the disturbing part of all of this. When we're talking about different phenomenon, we can only do it in an epistemological sort of way. Anytime we talk about a thing, we're talking about it in theory. We can't avoid that. That alone is reason enough to believe that everything we talk about is merely It's merely arbitrary. What you call a zit, I call a zat, and whatever. But something changes when we consider something. If in fact what we distinguish as A different from B can actually be demonstrated as such, not by our mere knowledge of it, but through an empirical demonstration, then it may be that our epistemic differentiation is actually reflected in a true, real, ontological phenomenon. The difficulty people have is recognizing, or demonstrating rather, the actual ontological basis of what we epistemologically separate. If there is a basis in ontology, then you can't sidestep the Kalam argument by merely saying that everything is just epistemology. Here's an example. If I was to grab an object on my desk and to say this is distinct from the Empire State Building, I could pick it up and expect that the Empire State Building doesn't itself pick up. However, we might be able to say, if we had the instruments for it, track the molecules of air that are agitated, that then, when I wave the pencil, that then collide into other air molecules, and then collide into a zillion other air molecules until finally it reaches all the way to the Empire State Building. That last air molecule might then bump against the Empire State Building and cause an infinitesimally small amount of erosion that wouldn't have otherwise occurred had I not merely picked up the pencil. This is a little bit like the butterfly effect, or even chaos theory. Though I've come to realize that everything that I was taught in school is not how people are using terms here on YouTube, so take that with a grain of salt. The point is this: without the air, we cannot possibly assume that the affecting of this pencil is going to even possibly affect the Empire State Building. Precisely that if we were to shake a pencil in a vacuum, that air wouldn't be present. And then the Empire State Building would not be affected. What that demonstrates is that not only are we epistemologically separating the pencil from the air from the Empire State Building, but it might also have an ontological basis. Indeed, this is the very purpose of science. And when you ignore that and try to sidestep the Kalam argument and saying that everything we talk about is merely epistemologically based, might be an inappropriate and incomplete view of the matter.